Right now, there are software engineers with Stanford degrees sending out 500 applications and getting 0 callbacks. Meanwhile, a 23-year-old solo developer just sold a simple automation tool for $180,000.
Wait, how is that even possible?
Same industry, same moment in time, completely different outcomes. Here's the thing. Everyone's asking the wrong question. It's not, will AI replace software engineers? The real question is, which software engineers is AI replacing? And which ones is it making insanely wealthy? Because if you're still banking on the old promise, learn to code, get hired at Google, make $300K, retire rich, this video is going to sting a little. But stick with me for the next 10 minutes, because by the end, you'll understand exactly why the $200K salary is dying and what's replacing it. For 20 years, software engineering came with an unwritten guarantee. Learn to code, get into FAANG, make 6 figures straight out of college, then $200K, then $300K, then coast to retirement.
That's the dream, right?
Was the dream, past tense. That promise shaped everything. Millions switched their college majors. Immigrants restructured their entire lives around it. People spent thousands of hours grinding LeetCode at 2 a.m., all of them betting on one belief. I picked the safe path. Now look around. Google just cut 12,000 jobs. Meta laid off 21,000. Amazon, Microsoft, Salesforce, the bleeding hasn't stopped. And here's the part that nobody saw coming. It's not just juniors getting axed. Senior engineers with 15 years at top companies are sending out hundreds of applications and hearing nothing.
But I did everything right. I followed the playbook.
The playbook changed, and nobody sent a memo. Here's what actually happened. For decades, coding itself was rare. You were speaking to machines in a language most humans couldn't understand. Black screens, green text, cryptic errors. If you could do it, you were automatically valuable. Companies weren't just paying for your skills, they were paying for scarcity. That's why recruiters chased developers who were barely qualified. That's why mediocre engineers still pulled $250K total comp. That's why the entire industry felt like a golden ticket. But scarcity is fragile. Universities scaled CS programs. Boot camps industrialized training. YouTube turned every error message into a step-by-step tutorial. Then remote work killed geography. Suddenly, Silicon Valley companies weren't just competing with each other anymore. They were competing with engineers in Warsaw making $60K for the exact same work.
So what happens when the talent pool goes global?
The price drops. Fast. And then AI arrived. Not as a replacement for people, at least not yet, but as a replacement for hours. When one engineer with Claude or Cursor can do the work of 3 people, companies don't keep 3, they keep 1. Here's the uncomfortable part most engineers don't want to hear. The market no longer pays well for people who type code.
Wait, so coding isn't valuable anymore?
Coding is valuable. Generic coding is worthless. AI didn't kill software jobs. It killed the value of features. Building a CRUD app? Cheap. Writing boilerplate? Cheap. Spinning up basic APIs? Cheaper every single month. So companies stopped asking, how many engineers do we have? They started asking, how much output do we get per engineer? That one shift explains everything you're seeing right now. Why headcount keeps shrinking. Why entry-level hiring collapsed by 67% since 2022. Why average senior engineers with solid performance reviews are still getting cut. The mistake most engineers make is thinking, if I just code faster, I'll survive this. That used to work. It doesn't anymore. Because speed without leverage just makes you an expensive commodity. And commodities get priced down or replaced entirely.
So who's still making $300,000, $500,000, even $800,000 as an engineer in 2025?
Not the people typing code the fastest, the people working higher. The engineers still winning stopped thinking in features. They started thinking in systems.
What's the difference?
A feature is build this button, ship this API, fix this bug. A system is how does this feature increase revenue by 15% without breaking everything else we've built? See the difference? Companies don't get rich from code. They get rich from systems that keep working when nobody's watching. That's why platform engineers, infrastructure leads, and product-aligned tech leads still command massive compensation. Not because they write better code, because they control leverage. They own critical paths. They understand the business deeply. They make trade-off decisions that affect millions in revenue. They use AI to multiply their output by 10x and make it look effortless. And when things break at 3 a.m., they're accountable.
So basically, you need to be irreplaceable.
No, you need to be high leverage. There's a difference. But this isn't a doom story. It's a sorting story.
A sorting story. Right.
Because there are still two legitimate paths to building serious wealth as a software engineer in 2025. They're just completely different now. Path 1. Inside companies. Become irreplaceable through leverage. You stop being an order taker. You become an outcome owner. You don't just ship code. You understand customers. You don't just build features. You understand which features move the revenue needle. You use AI to do the work of 3 engineers while making it look routine. You become the person leadership literally cannot afford to lose. Not because of your code quality, but because of your judgment.
How much do these people actually make?
These engineers still pull $300, $500, sometimes $1.2 million in total comp. Path 2. Outside companies. Build your own leverage. You stop betting your entire financial future on one employer's decision. You build small, profitable machines. Not billion-dollar unicorn fantasies, just useful products that solve real problems for real people who are willing to pay.
Isn't that just a side hustle?
It starts as a side hustle. Then it becomes your main income. Here's the mental shift. Instead of asking, how do I get one perfect job that saves me? You ask, how do I build 3 small systems that feed me? And this is where AI becomes a superpower instead of a threat. So here's what's actually happening right now. The era of easy, high-paying tech jobs? That's over. But the era of high-leverage engineers? That's just beginning. AI doesn't care what framework you know or which bootcamp you attended. It cares what problems you can solve and how much value you can create per hour worked. The $200K salary isn't dying because software is dying. It's dying because the rules changed, and most people are still playing the 2015 game in 2025.
So what do I do now?
You decide which path you're taking, and you start moving. If this completely reframed how you see your tech career, hit subscribe. This is Paper Money. We don't do generic personal finance tips here. We break down exactly how career decisions, market shifts, and leverage actually build wealth in the real world. No fluff. No motivation speeches. Just the mechanics of how money moves in your industry. Before you go, answer this honestly in the comments. Do you want a high salary? Or do you want leverage? Because in 2025, those are no longer the same thing. And your answer decides everything.